Hello friends, JenkinsDota here, bringing you another Dota 2 video, and this one is going to be on 5 common game-losing mistakes that Dota players make. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Number 5. Wasting teleport scrolls. Using teleport scrolls to get somewhere is an integral part of Dota. However, when most people teleport somewhere, like a lot of things in Dota, it's almost always an impulsive decision rather than a conscious, well-thought-out decision. The problem in this case is not the fact that it happens, it's the fact that it's impulsive. This is because a lot of the time these impulsive TP scrolls lead to either you getting killed or you getting your team killed, which frequently causes an entire game to snowball out of control, all from one simple wasted teleport. Basically, if you do waste a TP, then you won't be able to respond to a fight, the enemy team pushing an objective, or the enemy team taking Roshan for 80 whole seconds. This is really dangerous, especially if the enemy team knows that you used your TP, because a good team will always capitalize on a wasted TP by intentionally choosing to take a fight somewhere that is very far away from you, because they know that you won't be able to help. Imagine that you're a robber who's planning a robbery on some bank that has a security crew consisting of 5 highly trained people who are just constantly monitoring the bank. If you have 5 robbers and they have 5 security people and you try to run in guns blazing and rob the bank, it probably won't go so well, right? It's an even matchup in terms of people, but you're robbing their bank. They know it best and they're probably going to trash you. But imagine if you had the information that one of these security people took a coffee break 5 blocks away at a certain time during the day. Well, it probably still wouldn't go so well because it's pretty damn hard to rob a bank these days, but a 5v4 is certainly a lot easier than a 5v5. Using a TP scroll in Dota is basically going on a coffee break 5 blocks away from your team, except wiping a team 5v4 is a lot easier in Dota than robbing a bank 5v4 in the real world. The solution to this problem is basically just to think about why you're actually teleporting somewhere before you do it. If it isn't absolutely necessary, or you aren't absolutely certain that you won't need to teleport anywhere anytime soon, then don't teleport. Walk and sacrifice a little bit of farm to avoid losing the game. And if you do teleport, communicate with your team that you just teleported, that you're showing in vision, and the enemy team will be likely to go on them at that point. Number 4. Showing in vision for no reason. In its essence, Dota is a game of information, and if both teams are equally balanced in terms of hero picks and players, and both teams are perfectly capable of reacting based on the information that is available to them, then the team with more information will win 100% of the time. With that being said, these assumptions are obviously highly implausible in a real game, but as your skill increases, so will your MMR, and the more balanced your teams will become in terms of hero picks and ability to react to the available information. Thus, the better you get, the more and more important digesting information becomes, and as a result, so does the ability to starve the enemy team of information. With that being said, arguably the most useful information in a game of Dota is simply knowing the positioning of the enemy heroes based on seeing them in vision on the minimap. This is especially true for certain key heroes within a draft, and it's important to note that these key heroes can change as the game progresses. Imagine that you're one of those seemingly helpless victims in a slasher movie, just your typical Hollywood slasher movie, and there's some masked guy running around and he's killing everybody. Spooky stuff, right? But imagine if for some period of time you see exactly where the killer is. What are you going to do? Well, realistically, you're probably just going to run directly the other way, and you'll probably make a pretty easy escape if you actually see the guy. Or, if you're the heroic type, you might grab the nearest fire extinguisher and bop the guy on the head with it. And that's not a really good slasher if the guy's showing in vision, right? Because he's either going to get bopped on the head or his victims are just going to run away. But what happens if you have absolutely no idea where the killer is? It's likely that you'd feel as if he's everywhere. Nowhere would feel safe. The exact same thing holds true in Dota if you're a hero who has a significant amount of gank and kill potential. If you are seen nowhere in vision, then the enemies will feel like you are everywhere. You'll be that slasher who's hiding around every corner. And that fact alone can a lot of the time turn out to be more powerful than actually killing anybody at all. Number 3. Hitting jungle creeps. In a game of Dota, hitting jungle creeps is a very tempting prospect for most players. It's comfortable, it's relaxing, it's safe. But it doesn't progress the game like hitting lane creeps, because in the end, the purpose of Dota is not to get farmed, it's to destroy the enemy base. Taking the time to hit lane creeps instead of jungle creeps pushes your creep wave toward the enemy base, forcing them to either respond to it or to suffer tower damage. This directly results in progressing the game far closer to victory than hitting jungle creeps. Essentially, economically speaking, hitting lane creeps will give you significantly more net worth than hitting jungle creeps, not only because they literally give higher gold bounties, but also because of all the other strategic benefits of having the enemy team have to respond to a pushed out lane. A smart team will seldom make plays if their lanes aren't pushed out, because if they lose a team fight, then backdoor protection will be off and they're going to lose objectives. The problem that I've seen time and time again in pubs of all ratings that is super game losing is people hitting jungle creeps when the enemy team is dead. This is one of the absolute worst things that you can do in Dota, because a large portion of the enemy team being dead means that you can basically do whatever you want. Abuse this time. Get as much as you can while you can, so that when they're alive again, you are much stronger and the map is in a much worse state for them. If they give you an inch, take a mile. If you don't capitalize on these moments in Dota where the enemy team is dead and you continue to play as if they're alive, then you're going to give the enemy team a chance to win a game that could otherwise be unwinnable for them. Number 2, focusing on kills and not objectives. One thing that has become abundantly clear to me over the years of chatting with other Dota players of all proverbial shapes and sizes is that each person views this game very, very differently. I'm not even necessarily saying that people have different ideas of how to play the game, although that is a fairly obviously true statement. The claim that I'm making here is more about the way that people literally perceive the game psychologically. For example, when I first started playing the game, I was coming off of a couple of years of binge playing Call of Duty with my friends every night, and I played a lot of other games, but that was kind of the main one that really shaped my perception of Dota, because it was the one that I played the most. So I was trying to learn the mechanics of Dota, and I would draw analogies to Call of Duty, because it was easier than starting from the ground up when it comes to understanding the complex but crucial mechanics of Dota. For example, I may have compared denying my own creeps in Dota to team killing my own team in Call of Duty to deny kill streak rewards from the enemy team or something like that. And it doesn't make the most sense, but neither did Dota, and I was just trying to get better at the game. So my initial perception of Dota was essentially playing a hero running around trying to get kill streaks like in Call of Duty, which made me heavily gravitate towards playing a lot of Pudge. And to this day, the way I assess whether or not a hero is difficult to kill is by imagining myself killing them as Pudge. Right or wrong, good or bad, it's just my instinct, all because I played Call of Duty. I imagine that a large majority of other players may also have impulses in Dota based on their previous experience with other games. And in a lot of other games, kills matter a lot. In Dota, they can very frequently serve as just a distraction from what's actually going to win you the game. Sure, it's way more fun and rewarding, seemingly, to kill people and to make sweet plays, but it doesn't always win you the game. This is where the problem arises. In Dota, you get rewarded for killing heroes, but it's not necessarily a reward that's actually going to win you the game. A 30 kill advantage means almost nothing if you've gotten no towers off of the back of it. One lost team fight and the enemy team can blow the game wide open, securing map control and ultimately the game. As a general rule, when you're killing enemies, you can think about what objective you're actually securing by killing them. If there's no objective that you can come up with, then you're probably wasting your time. Number 1. 3 cores farming 3 lanes at once while you're ahead. Past the laning phase, if you have 3 cores showing, farming 3 lanes at once, then you're probably getting extremely good farm, but you're being dangerously greedy. In a game of Dota, there's 3 cores and 2 supports, obviously. The enemy team will know that at least 1 core has to be alone if 3 of them are showing in 3 different lanes. The supports can't be behind everyone, that's just a simple fact. And arguably more importantly, the enemy team will know that there are no cores behind any of the cores on the map. And cores are vastly stronger than supports usually. So if they take 2 cores and jump on any of the cores showing in vision on your team, then they're almost guaranteed to kill that player and anybody who tries to help, even if the ganking team is playing from behind. Typically, the correct play while you're ahead is to farm 2 lanes and give the enemy team 1 lane to farm. This is typically referred to as a dead lane. This is a concept that's been used by pros for ages. Usually what lane is dead is something that's going to be communicated during competitive games. Having a dead lane is very efficient because if there's 2 cores in 2 lanes and 1 core not showing in the dead lane, then it's much more dangerous for the enemy team to go on either of the cores that are showing. Even if they take all 5 of their players, and try to kill one of the cores who are showing, you could have 3 heroes there ready to pounce, and the other core can simply TP and get ready to fight a little bit later. If you're ahead, typically a 4v5 while your last player shows up a little bit late will still result in you wiping the enemy team just because you're ahead. Moreover, if you allow one lane to be dead, that's going to give the enemy team a place to farm. And you might think, why give them a place to farm? Choke them out. But that's a place that you can kill them instead of them just sitting inside their base. This gives you the ability to gank them there instead of having to take a fight close to their base. In other words, it gives the enemy team a chance to split while not actually receiving very efficient farm. So you can gank them and push high ground much easier if you only actually control 2 lanes instead of all 3 and you allow one of these lanes to be a dead lane. That's it for this list, guys. If you found this video interesting or entertaining, please show your support by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you have time for. If you didn't like it, then make sure to still leave a comment below. I do genuinely appreciate the critiques, and I read all of the comments, and I try to respond to as many of them as I can, especially within the first couple of days. So no matter what, thank you for your time. I do appreciate you watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video, which actually should be coming a lot sooner than this one did because I now have a good internet connection, so amen to that. Thank you for watching, guys.